Welcome back to Finn versus History. I'm here with Horatio Gould.
6!
And
I went for it. I'm out of my depth.
That's not commentary in cricket, though, is it?
6!
And we're here with one of my favourite podcasts, the great cricketer, Peasant Higgos. It doesn't sound right in British accent, does it?
Oh, you really wrapped your mouth around that.
It doesn't.
It sounds so distasteful.
Ian and Sam. Much more comfortable saying Ian and Sam.
Higgos. Yeah.
Pez Higgos.
It's like when
Pez
Disney
Higgos
Rascal goes
and
on BBC
Horatio.
News.
Doesn't quite work out. Bless you for sticking to the dress code.
Yeah.
There's an element of an Australian in suit that is kind of imminent court appearance for
That's good. It begins early. Yeah.
Domestic violence.
I feel like convicts and criminals. Yeah.
I'm doing door-to-door computer sales on the back of a cocaine bender.
That's it, in the 80s.
In the 80s, and I feel incredible. Would you like a compact
It's the
Presario?
trainer socks that really get me. Go on, show the fans the ankle.
a bit of
Fucking
ankle.
hell. That costs money, that.
That's the new world right there. You're in court for hitting your wife. I'm guilty, and I do it again.
Hey, 10 guys just completed themselves over that ankle shot from Higgos, believe me.
Yeah, we have a deeply conservative fan base who that will stir. We're here to talk about the origins and the history of the Ashes.
Mm-hmm. One for the girls.
One for the girls. One for the mums.
You said you wanted less war, so we're going to give you...
This is the only other type of war we know. I mean, the Ashes, for me, it's like the only thing that matters in most areas of my life, actually. Yeah. All other cricket seems to just be infantilized now. And this is the thing.
Everything else is a friendly leading up to the Ashes.
Yeah,
sort of.
In my head. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it feels like that it sort of... would you say it defines the Australian story?
Yes, I would, Finn. I would say that. Yeah, I mean, because basically, midway through an Ashes series, they're already planning for the next Ashes series. What this means for the next one, because in all sport, the most important game is the next one.
Yes.
So semi-finals better than finals, etc.
Yeah.
And so the denigration of other nations doesn't really concern us because as long as the Ashes is on, then that's the main thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's basically royal commissions in Australia at any stage if we lose to England, especially at home. Like, it is the only... Like, Australia... A lot of people think Australia are, mad for cricket. We're not at all. Everybody watches footy, all the different codes, and cricket exists for 3 weeks a year on TV when people are, having, Christmas leftovers. And that's only when we're playing England as well.
Yeah.
And I know, you're like, the Ashes is the only thing that matters. Like, as we record now, Australia's in the World Test Championship final against South Africa.
Absolute nonsense.
Yeah, and every English person is saying the only thing that matters is the Ashes, which is convenient.
It feels like the English it feels like the psyche of England and Australia is born out of.
Definitely.
We're apologetic. We're wet, soft men,
Red.
hard bods.
That's true. Yeah.
Hard bods steaming in. And we're apologising as we sort of shit ourselves at the crease, and there's comfort in that, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's comfort in.
There's pride in it.
There's a weird sense of pride in it. Yeah.
Well, that's what I find is weird about England's relationship with cricket is that we're not the best at cricket. We kind of haven't been for ages, but there's a pride in the fact that that's not how the game's meant to be played.
Yeah.
There's a vulgarity to playing it well.
That's what you guys say, when you're not winning. It's like it's not about winning.
There's something like it's quite
it's about morality.
It's about morality.
If we could have won if we played it like that.
That's not cricket.
Yeah.
Slogging it like that's disgraceful.
It's unmanly.
It's about how to deal with failure. That's how the game was invented.
That's true, actually. And a failure in the Australian psyche isn't really a thing, is it?
It's not tolerated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's about
you're criminals.
Yes, that's right.
It's more about convicts and skin cancer.
Yeah.
That's what we can offer.
Convicts and skin
cancer.
cancer.
Raw-boned country guys who are fed on nothing but steak against wet, limp-wristed, morally superior
gay
Brits.
men. Yeah, that's
who
it.
are gay.
Yeah.
But I guess
Here we go. It's so early in the morning. It's so early in the morning to be fleeing steaks v gays. That's what the Ashes is. It's the history of red meat against these wet, fishy gay boys. Out in the middle, just, take my wicket, will you? Just take it.
Take my wife,
I can't
take my
bear
wicket.
It. Take my wife, take my wicket. Someone fuck something, would you?
The Ashes is just one big cuck chair, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, English cricket is a cuck chair.
English cricket is a cuck chair.
If you look at the Lord's membership, it's all just it's 200 cucks in a chair. It's just watching an England batting collapse, it's like,
Yeah. And they go, will you go out and do it? I couldn't possibly. No. I was watching it. We were saying that the Lord's members, because we met you at the cricket on Wednesday. We were there. The Lord's members pavilion is the final stand of white privilege.
It is.
Yes.
Like when the blue hairs and the pitchforks, they take over
It's
everything.
Jeffrey Boycott
It's
defending white
boycott in the
privilege.
MCC. No, this isn't cricket.
Yeah. One guy had a pillowcase over his head.
Yeah, that's cricket. That's cricket.
There's a couple of
cricket.
eye holes.
Yeah. So anyway, the Ashes begins in was it 1877 is the first test,
Yes.
right? I think.
He's gone rogue.
Well, I did listen to 2 podcasts about
Okay,
this.
fair enough.
Then I thought we'd just sort of vibe it.
Yeah.
Unusually for us.
Yeah.
So it starts in 1877, but I think basically the Ashes starts when Australia beat England. Because that's like, well, hang on, we've got to make this.
Yeah.
Well, if it's a competition, then we should make it a competition. And I think this is when Australia are on a tour in England in the 1882. Now, sorry, guys, our audience are very, 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 very fat.
And ugly.
And ugly, and
ugly.
smelly and thick.
Yeah.
What we need to do is we need to place this historically for the
Yes.
listeners, because they sort of don't really understand when time and 1882. When do you want to have a go at this? You have a
Okay,
crack
so
at this?
okay,
When's
so
this?
it's 1882. I'd say that's after the invention of the steam engine.
Yeah, let's just verify that, Charlie.
Yeah.
Steam engines around, surely.
And it's
Yeah.
quite a while.
Comfortably,
actually.
yeah. Nice pocket you've got to work with there.
Yeah, and is that before the invention of the Heeley shoe? You know, the shoe with the wheels in it?
It's got to be.
It's got to be.
It's gotta be.
Surely there's not a proto.
99. Lovely. Beautifully
White
placed.
birth.
Beautifully
White birth.
placed.
Well, I know where we are now.
Yeah.
How do you think Jack the Ripper got away so quickly?
It's a Heeley.
So no one was on Heeley in the early tests.
No one was. Well, that's not cricket. Heeley
That's
shoes.
really not
That's
cricket.
not cricket. That will probably.
Even though that would probably be cheat. It's like being on steroids, because if you could bowl with the Heelys, it'd give
What, if
you
you
so
had
much more.
Mitchell Stark gliding in on heel shoes?
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I
it's
think
just
maybe for
per-
fielding
yeah.
as well, if you wanted a bit of extra lift off.
Rollerblading
Yeah.
disco.
It's not cricket.
What's it? No, it's not. Is it called? It's a shoey, isn't it? It's not Heeley.
Oh, drinking out of the
drinking
shoe.
out of the
yeah,
shoe.
shoey, yeah,
Shoey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you know, Australia do have
Creatively,
culture,
yeah.
They do have
right.
culture.
They
They do have a
culture,
rich history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Culturally rich. Yeah. We've exported that too, by the way. That's ours.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Didn't Daniel Ricciardo used to do it if he won like a Formula One race,
It's amazing.
just
It's
on
a,
the global stage.
It's a cultural custom. It's lovely to see. It's amazing.
Drink alcohol out of a sweaty shoe. Yeah.
What then?
That's how you get into Parliament.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
What's that,
You don't put your hand on the Bible,
The
you
opening
do
of the
a shoey.
Australian Parliament.
Yeah.
What happens to the shoe after a shoey? Is it? It's. I mean, that's a very sort of gay thing to ask, I guess. But that's. You know,
But what's happening to the shoe?
what happens to
guy?
the craftsmanship? It's gone into the shoe.
You slip it back on.
Yeah.
Really?
Slip it back on, go about your day.
Yeah.
Wet sock.
In 2017, a Melbourne mother, Natasha Corrigan, gave birth to a baby boy named Brian Jr., who weighed 13.23 pounds.
How's that going in the rankings?
Now,
then?
how's that? We are ranking the biggest babies to be born in
This
countries.
is Brian Jr.
Fuck me.
Is that as big as Russia's biggest baby?
Is that bigger than the? I think that's the biggest one yet, isn't it?
Charlie, you got to be keeping
big
tabs
Charlie,
on this.
what is
You're
the point of
embarrassing
having
us.
a biggest baby Top Gear leaderboard if you're not keeping track?
Russia's top, 17 pounds.
Still Russia.
Brian is
Still Russia.
Russia's
Well,
got us
yes.
covered.
Well,
Is Brian-
that'd be state funded.
Yeah.
Is Brian Jr.
Yeah, steroids.
This is unbelievable.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
He bats 3 for Australia.
Now where's he batting? 4?
Yeah.
Slogfest.
He's fucking walked out of the womb. That's mental.
It's also funny to call a kid Brian Jr. when they're the same size as Brian.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, so 1882. Yes, there's no heel shoes. Now Australia defeat England at the Oval by 7 runs.
The British 9/11.
This is the British 9/11. And what happens here is that I think it's some paper for like weeks. There's articles about how this is a disgrace.
Yeah.
We're not meant to lose. I think before this we'd just been, it'd been sort of almost a charity thing.
Yeah.
For the Australians.
Yeah.
For anyone in the colonies.
Yeah.
It's like it's all a bit of fun.
And then this happened, and then it was like, I kind of like this feeling.
Yeah, the cucks and the
That's
cucks
yeah.
and the membership. It's that first time you watch your wife. And it's the surprise of liking it.
She deserves so much better.
Yeah. This is amazing.
Turns out I'm not the best one at this.
And that's how the first appeal started.
Yeah. That's-
Set that upstairs, would you?
I want to watch it again in slow motion.
Yeah. Oh, is there an edge? Yes, there's a big sound there. But in the Sporting Times, is so-called is published the death of English cricket.
Of course, yeah, of course.
They've lost once. Well, this is fucked. This whole thing's fucked. This isn't fun anymore. And the legend goes that, I think maybe in the article they say what we'll do is we're going to burn the stumps, cremate the stumps, and then put them in an urn and send the ashes back to Australia. That's the first time the ashes is mentioned.
Do we know who this journalist was, or is it kind of still just myth? So this is not. We don't know for sure whether it was.
No, it definitely wasn't an article.
Right.
But who cares?
All right.
And then I think the term the ashes, a guy called Ivo Bly,
right,
who's obviously a good chap.
Yeah, old boy.
He leads a tour to Australia in 1882 to recover the ashes. To get them back.
Yeah.
And there is an element of all this, which is why I like cricket, is that it is all just kind of like a public school game.
Yeah.
And it has no real rooting in any kind of actual society at all. It's why is this Ivo Bly?
That's Ivo Bly, yeah.
Yeah, look at that. That's a cuck if ever I saw one. So he goes back, and they do win the next tour in 1882, and they're presented with a small urn, and by a group of Melbourne women, including his future wife.
Right.
And this little trophy becomes a sort of symbolic representation of the Ashes. And what's funny is that in the first sort of 40 years of the Ashes, England has this selection policy where we have to have a certain amount of amateurs.
Yeah.
An amateur. Do you know the distinction of an amateur? It's basically a guy who's not paid to play cricket.
Yes.
Cricket, yeah.
But he's just like, he knows someone who knows someone.
Yeah.
But it's weird. It's a weird thing where being an amateur is a positive thing.
Yeah.
Because being a professional is vulgar, and it's for people who can't afford to not get paid for what they do.
Yeah.
It's like
It's having sex with your own wife.
Yeah, it's like, this is absolute.
It's a disgrace.
You're a professional.
Yeah. Yeah. Why are you doing that for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why
You
don't you-
need this.
Well, you do
need
this for a
this.
living.
Why don't you pay someone to have sex with her for you?
Yeah. I can afford to have someone else fuck my wife for me.
I've got a cleaner, I've got a chef, I've got
Well,
someone
you
to
need to
fuck my wife.
fuck your own wife. That's the only person you can fuck.
That's uncouth.
So do you not know about the amateur professional thing? 'Cause
I
it's a
only
very
learned
English
this the other
thing.
day, yeah.
It's
And
a very,
but the
like-
amateurs would make more money in other areas of their life, right? So it was
Yeah.
kind of classier
Well, they
to
get-
not
Well, they
need
would
the money
make
from cricket.
They
They-
would
no, they-
have money.
Yeah, from
Yeah,
money.
No one
Yeah.
here makes money.
Yeah, sorry.
Just
sorry.
money's around.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
in-
yeah,
For
yeah,
some
yeah.
people.
But isn't it in golf? It's the opposite. It was like they were real like aristocratic people that were playing golf who were professionals.
Maybe that happened earlier, but I think for
Maybe.
most of these sports, it was just seen as very vulgar to do it professionally.
Okay.
It was like the way that like actors or comedians were always viewed as very like at the bottom of society.
Yeah,
I
right,
think to
right,
be
right.
paid to be a sportsman was humiliating.
Ugly. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And so the amateurs would get expenses for their travel,
Okay.
which would amount to more money than the professionals were being paid as a fee. So there's a story of one guy who was like a bit short of change and said, "Sorry, can you make me an amateur
Yeah.
so that I can afford to
Yeah.
feed my family?" Because I'm currently professional and I'm barely scraping by. But this meant that it wasn't England's best cricketing team, and this is
No.
where I think the origin of the rivalry starts.
This happens in all English sport, by the way.
Yeah.
Because we invent all these major sports and we end up becoming, not the best. We end up getting out of the top 5 of all these sports, pretty much.
Yeah.
Because of it's the same story in all of these sports.
There's no point playing your best team. That's
Yeah.
what this is about.
Yeah, exactly.
It's meant to be funny, isn't it? But then Australia obviously starts trying,
Yeah.
which is not cricket.
And it's vulgar.
It's not
And
cricket.
it's vulgar.
vulgar.
It's
and
ugly.
and it's classless.
Yeah,
Yes,
it
it
is.
is.
It's
It is.
distasteful.
It is distasteful. And so you have pre-World War One. This is when it starts to go to 5 matches, and the famous Golden Age series in 1902. Victor Trumper, is he Australian or is he?
Australia.
He's Australian.
Is he? That's not a very Australian name.
Yeah. Well,
Trumper.
no one was back
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
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 Australia was 1 year. Australia was 1 year old at
Yeah.
the time.
That's true, of course. Yeah.
My name's Ian Higgins.
Here goes.
Hey guys, yeah.
People on Higo here. They drop the S.
They drop the S, yeah.
Is
Yes.
is that are the pronouns Hig/O? That's the pronouns. That's the Australian pronouns. Because Australia. What? Well, I was going to say it starts in 1788. That's quite a massive political statement to make, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not true.
It's not true. Well, come on. It's all about perspective, isn't it?
Yeah. We don't worry about truth on this podcast. Don't worry, guys.
Someone asked me yesterday when it was that Captain Cook discovered Australia.
Yeah, that's nice.
Which I think was news for the population that already existed there. But,
Yeah.
It's news to us.
Yeah. No, this is in 1788. And did you guys know that it starts with a massive orgy? Do you know that?
Australia.
Yeah.
Or
The Botany Bay, supposedly. They
Okay.
come out, the first fleet, they come out, and they're so like they've been at sea for however long, months.
Yeah.
And obviously, you go on a cruise. The first thing you want to do is get on the sand and just start having
Pumping
at it.
away.
Pumping away.
Yeah.
With
So that's the
scurvy.
foundation thing of Australia. It's this
An
mass
orgy on the beach.
orgy on the beach.
Okay.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
It does make sense.
Yeah.
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 I was curious as to whether that was in your.
Is that
With
part of your
alcohol and
mythic-
disease and murder, yeah.
We didn't get taught that at school, but
Guys are uncomfortable with that. Yeah.
Don't make it too real. Anyway, Victor Trumper scores a century at Old Trafford before lunch. Australia wins. The series is drawn 2-2, but the cricket is thrilling. And this is where the Ashes sort of starts to take off. Now, I think
Why is this the golden age, by the way?
Hey?
Why is this the golden age?
Well, this is the golden age of everything. This is before World War One. This is where
Golden age of
everything's...
everything. Well, for certain people.
Yeah,
right?
for the right kind of people.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
golden age of everything.
This is golden age of everything. Obviously, the World War One. Now, Australia is involved in that. Gallipoli.
Gallipoli, yeah.
That's what I know.
Yeah, that's where Australians go now before an Ashes series over here. We go back to the site of Gallipoli. We wear baggy greens just to connect.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a massive defeat in that as well, I think. Yeah. Anyway.
Slaughtered there. It was
Yeah,
horrendous.
yeah.
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 Collapse. Yeah.
It's always nice to see the Australians defeated.
Yeah.
I think you dropped us off there, actually. It wasn't good.
Whether it's Edgbaston or Gallipoli, it just brings warmth to my heart to see the Australians. Something about the Australian personality doesn't handle defeat well. And then, I mean, we need to get to sort of the still probably the GOAT,
Yes.
Don Bradman, who starts to dominate the cricketing.
I mean, that's an Australian name. Now the Australian names are
Here
coming
we
in.
go. So at some point after World War
Bradman.
One, real Bradman.
Real Bradman.
I got 23 centuries.
Real Bradman.
24, baby. Real Bradman. Now tell us about Don Bradman, fellas, because he's sort of up there with he's like David Beckham for Australia, right?
Yeah.
No one's ever made that comparison
Never heard that
between
before.
golden balls and Bradman.
Bradman is Australia's pride and joy, basically.
Yes.
He's a triumph of just complete domination of his sport. His average of 99.94 is very annoying for autists who
Which he was one of.
which he was undoubtedly one with respect and about 75% of the cricketing population are also on the spectrum, I would say. So but yeah, I mean he destroyed everybody. He hated Catholics.
The more I learn about this guy, the more I like him.
His average of 99.94 is on the citizenship test of Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
Are you joking? Or?
And-
No, seriously,
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also the PO box of the national broadcaster as well. If you want to send like mail to them, the postcode is like 9994.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Because like in like the Mount Rushmore, the goats of all sports, like I think statistically Bradman is so far ahead of the second best player of any sport ever.
He's 40% better than the next person.
Right.
And that's
Yeah.
complete anomaly in any sport.
So Babe Ruth for baseball or Gretzky or whatever in ice hockey or
It'll be
Tom
10,
Brady or
20% max.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So he's just a young guy from Bowral, which is a country town in New South Wales. He grew up with a golf ball and a stump, and he used to bounce it against a water tank.
Yes, that's right.
Symmetrical water tank, and he used to hit it back and forth over and over again.
But it had juts in it, so like it would come at different angles. And there's footage of him just standing there, like golf ball, stump, and just hitting it back and forth.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to do.
And girls are like, do you want to go on a date? No.
gay.
Yeah.
Catholic.
He's got a GoPro like bourgeois. Wow! It's amazing how autism has lost something, hasn't it?
Yes.
The
Yeah.
things you achieved as an autistic
Yes.
100 years ago
Well,
are not comparable.
No.
It's just sort of like it's going in one direction. You've just got to aim them right. That's
Yeah.
what you got with a young
Yes,
autist.
exactly.
You got to make sure he's not trained. Get away
Yeah,
from there.
yeah.
Let's do cricket.
You know how you have a toddler and you can basically just pick them up and put them there
Yeah.
and they'll just carry on walking.
Yeah.
That's
you can
it.
do that at a young age. They're on.
Anime, for fuck's sake! What are you doing?
When does Bradman start playing? Is it?
He's 18 when he's picked, I think.
Right.
And
30.
so yeah, 20. So he's 1908 or whatever that is. So he makes 18 and 1 in his first test, and people think he's shit.
Right.
And then after that, he destroys everybody. So
So because his average was going to be, apart from his last
He needed
match,
4 runs in
four
his
runs.
last test in 1948
to average
100.
Yeah.
And he goes out to bat at the Oval. He faces a bowler called Eric Hollies, who bowls him a wrong it knocks his stumps over. Bradman just turns around and just walks off.
Absolutely.
Australian 9/11, I guess.
This is Gallipoli again. It's great. It's
well
beautiful.
over.
And the good
It's
thing about that
beautiful.
story is that the captain of the English side organised 3 cheers for Bradman because it was announced it was his last Test match, and Bradman said he picked the googly, he picked the wrong, but he had tears in his eyes, because of what the England captain had done, celebrating his career and stuff. So he's like, even though he was bowled comprehensively, he still said, "I picked that. I was just crying
Because I was manipulated.
I was manipulated.
I was emotionally manipulated.
He was
Exactly.
a gaslighter.
He was, yeah.
Googling
He
is
was gaslit.
Googlies are gaslighting.
Google is
Yeah, that's
gaslighting. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's not
Oh, you think it's going to spin that way? That's interesting. Yeah.
No, it did spin that way. Oh, right. Okay. Fine.
But I mean, that is cricket.
That is cricket.
That is being 4 balls away from 100.
That's
and then
arguably the
getting a
most.
googly
That's
out.
arguably the most cricket there's ever been.
That is so
that's a
cricket.
good-
It's
yeah.
like it's such a hard game. It's such a cruel game. That's
such a
what's great.
weird game.
Such a weird game.
Yeah.
The fact that you are on the cusp of doing something like getting an average of 100.
Yeah.
Which for people who don't know cricket is, I mean, insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Like
your
a
average.
good average nowadays is like what 50.
50 is good.
50 is like you're a great.
You're a great. Yeah, you're a
if
modern
you're-
great if you're hitting
Yeah.
above 50.
Yeah.
Anyone in the game who's averaged above 50 over its whole history, it would be considered a great of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
he was 99.
So I guess Bradman, in the whole history of sport, stakes a pretty strong claim to be the greatest sportsman of all time, if you think about it statistically. How do you think he would actually... It's a really hard question, I guess.
I like this question.
Yeah.
I guess often when you see the black and white pictures, I'm comparing it to other sports. You know, you hear like Stanley Matthews.
Yeah.
And he was the first person to do a step over.
Yeah.
And he sent the whole crowd flying out the stadium.
Yeah.
They all thought he was going to go the other way. You know, they're wearing
The whole
like
team
fucking...
are like,
Hell! Witch! Burn him! You know, the defenders are wearing scaffolding boots. Like, it's hard to compare.
got clamps on their shoes. Yeah.
Great for when it's black and white photos.
Yeah,
What does that even mean?
Yeah.
I guess his ability to be so much better in that age than anyone else. Would he compare it in the modern game?
He wouldn't last 2 balls.
Yeah.
Do you really?
No,
Come on.
No, like, as you said, I mean, he can only play against what's in
Yes.
front of him.
And he did very
that's
well
what
against what's
That's
in
what
front of him.
everybody does. But
Yeah.
like we had a thing with, we interviewed Steve Smith like a year or 2 ago, and we showed him footage. We didn't tell him who it was. But we showed him footage of Clary Grimmett, who played like in Bradman's era. He got Bradman out like 10 times. And the footage of this guy, Clary Grimmett, he's a leg spinner. Like he looks like he's bowling to like 12-year-olds. Like he's walking in. It's like he's like got a catapult and he's going like that. And we showed it to Smith. I'm like, how do you think you go against this bloke? He's like, oh, I'd smack him everywhere. You know. So he got Bradman out 10 times. So like there is I think a lot of modern players look at these guys and they're like, these are crap. You know.
Wayne Rooney style.
Yeah, exactly. So. But yeah, well, I don't know what he's meant to do.
When you look at like professional athletes now,
Yeah.
which I do often, wearing an army jacket from the bushes, and
Welcome to the podcast.
and with the telescope, they have like obvious genetic advantages. Like they are freaks, and they've been like finely tuned. They're all they're picked from young age. They go into academies, and then they're groomed.
It's like
essentially.
cattle, really.
Yeah,
thick
pretty much,
bodies
yeah.
and thick jaws and hands.
The size of their hands,
Beautiful,
like they'll
beautiful hands, beautiful jaws.
Yeah, it is.
What are we talking about?
Yeah.
very gentle kisses as well.
Yeah.
Brothers. Yeah, like you shake their hands and they're fucking tickling your elbows. You know,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
they're enormous. But like Bradman doesn't have any. I don't think he had any obvious physiological advantages. Well, he had the odd noggin there. Yeah,
Yeah.
He was
the
solving Rubik's cubes.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
Quick speed.
more than a lick of the tism, I'd say. A big old hefty donkey slurp of it. He had a cow's lick of tism, this guy. Because now you do get those YouTube series of like village teams that have a GoPro. The wicketkeeper has a GoPro.
Yeah.
That is sort of bourgeois adjacent.
Yeah.
Ha ha! Wow! Yeah. Anyway,
So was he quite a dull man, Bradman? Did he have any charisma?
No, I think
Or was he pretty fucking...
pretty
as often
conservative,
these
I
top
think.
sportsmen are,
Yeah.
it's just completely cold.
he was a stockbroker. Like that was
Right.
his thing.
He loves numbers.
Yeah, he loves
big
numbers.
numbers guy.
Yeah, he's a stockbroker. He loved handling money.
Long division.
He marries his sweetheart Jessie, Lady Bradman, early. No one knows what happened on the boats he was on the way over the Ashes. But he was a lot of his teammates didn't really like him. You know, particularly the Catholics. But
so what's his Catholic thing? I didn't know this.
I don't know. I think back then Protestant Catholic stuff was a real thing.
He used to sledge his teammates on the way out to bat
Yeah, that's right.
because he was Protestant and some of his teammates.
Yeah,
were
Jack
Catholic.
Fingleton was one of his teammates who was a journalist as well later on, and I think like he used to pour like holy water on Bradman's bat, and Bradman refused to touch it after that. So there was a bit going on.
Yeah, hell of a player.
Yeah,
hell of a player. Yeah.
But I think he was straight. He became an administrator afterwards as well, and like was quite acquisitive with money, and he was pushing back against World Series cricket starting, which basically exploded the game, financially for a lot of people.
What you didn't want that happening?
No,
He didn't.
No,
No.
he was pretty conservative.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Our main fascination with Bradman in that era, because Australia and England, they used to get boats to play the Ashes series, right? And they'd be on the boats for months, like
Oh,
3 or 4
course,
months, because it would just take so long. So like, what's a team of professional athletes on a boat on a fucking P&O cruise doing? For 4 months, like who's on that trip, where they stop over, what's happening on board. That's
Sucking and
our
fucking.
main. Yeah.
Yeah.
They would have to have been. They would have to have been.
You have to.
Well, if you look at Flintoff on the pedalo,
Yeah. Imagine that for
imagine that for 4 months. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the point is that Bradman quite quickly becomes so much more dominant than anyone else in Test cricket. And so I think, is it in Australia? No, it's in England where he scores the 334, right? He scores nearly 1,000 runs in 5 tests, which I think is still the most amount anyone's ever scored in a series.
Right.
Like four double tons, something like that.
Right.
Anyway,
That's crazy.
so then in 1932-33, the Bodyline series. Now this is one of the most controversial things that's ever happened in cricket.
Right.
It's ever happened.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you're
thought
right.
so, yeah.
Now it should be said that 33. Obviously, I call this Hitler's ashes. Hitler's around. Hitler will have had news reports. I mean, Hitler.
Yes.
Hitler didn't care for cricket.
He likes ashes though. The size of that urn. Anyway.
We're going to need a bigger urn. That's a Hitler quote.
That's good stuff. That's a crisp cover drive. That. So anyway, in 1932-33, Hitler's coming to power. He's listening to the radio. What's happening is that because Bradman is so unbeatable,
I mean, Hitler's the Don Bradman of...
he is. He really is. The numbers.
numbers.
The
Yeah,
number. In terms of
numbers.
numbers, he's so much ahead of the second best.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And it's also the golden age of that period of genocides as well. That's sort of the classic.
Yeah.
classical
First half of the
Hitler, the
20th century.
Bradman of genocide. Is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Bradman's the Hitler of Australian cricket. Yeah.
Hitler, yeah.
It all works. But what England do is they have this tactic that I love the definitions. Is that it gets called Bodyline by the Australians.
Oh yeah,
but the English captain calls it fast leg theory, which sounds like a
he's an
Pink Floyd
academic.
album. Yeah, he's an academic. What this is basically, I think, is this short pitch bowling and basically trying to bounce it into their head, their
Yes.
body.
This is before helmets, right?
Before
He
helmets.
was pre-helmets,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like, the strange thing about it is it feels like a very Australian tactic. You know what I mean? This is one series where, like, Australia tried to moralise
Yes.
with England and say this isn't cricket. Like, and we were taught that, like in the curriculum at school, like in the late 90s. We used to write essays about how...
Bodyline.
Seriously. Like,
Wow.
like learning what was going on with
This is what I
Bodyline.
mean
Kind of
about-
wasn't cricket, and England was furious to be told something wasn't cricket. This is kind of the first time we've been told
Oh,
that
that's a good point.
something wasn't cricket,
But then
and we were like,
that's not cricket. Is English fascism, isn't it? It's because we decide what is and isn't
That's right,
as it happens.
100%, right. Exactly.
It's
but
completely,
it was bad
Yeah.
sportsmanship.
no. This
Yeah, but it
wasn't,
works.
this wasn't
It's
cricket.
exactly
This
what
really wasn't
Australia
cricket.
would have done. It's just sniffs. They just tried to take his head off, and it worked.
It did
It was
work.
fun.
It was
It's fun.
actually, it was a very
He's
Australian
average
tactic. You're
half,
right.
yeah.
So this is basically just trying to hurt the bowler and then stacking the leg side.
But you could kill him.
Yeah.
It's like you could
Yeah.
kill it.
And it was
yeah.
all of it. Like they did to all of them. Like there's great footage of like well, not great, but like
No, it's good,
like
it's good stuff.
Bill Woodfull like getting or Ponsford, which one like getting hit in the heart and stuff, and like recoiling away, like dropping his bat. Fielders all around the bat as well. It's good.
So basically, like to be more specific for our non-cricketing friends, yeah,
Please.
it's bowlers like bowling directly at the batter's head,
Yeah.
and then they would have to fend away using their bat. Then they would set all these fielders around, so the ball would just like pop up in the air, then they'd be out, right? Like it's if you've ever faced like fast short pitch bowling when it's at your head, it's actually really scary.
It's a
Like it's
missile.
really scary. Yeah.
Without a helmet, with just a flat cap on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just
and these
fucking-
were uncovered wickets. So now these days, if it's going to rain, they put covers over the deck, right? So just to keep the quality of the pitch, so there's just true bounce all the time. But these are uncovered wickets, so if it rained, it would be deviating all over the place.
Right.
So it's even more perilous, I suppose.
I think also our audience can't imagine a world pre-helmet in general.
Yeah, they're all.
They can't imagine what life would be like without a helmet on all the time.
Yeah, big headphones.
So it's a big. I didn't know that even happened, outside of cricket.
Yeah. So the tactics work though, right? England win the series. Is it 4-1? I mean, Bradman
only averages
56, which is insane.
Basically, Bradman was so good we tried to kill him.
Yeah, and in the series
we tried to assassinate Don Bradman.
Where we tried to kill him, he still averaged better than the best batsman nowadays.
Yes,
that's how good it. Yeah.
Yes.
So England wins 4-1, but it genuinely causes a diplomatic incident, I've heard. Do you know any more about this? About what I think it's on the news. It causes government officials have to have backroom meetings.
I mean, not really. Other than Australia just moralised the shit out of it and said this wasn't fair. And as I said, we were just taught it in school 50 years later how bad it was. But so Harold Larwood was the architect of it as well. So Jardine's the architect. Harold Larwood is the guy who does it.
He's an English bowler.
English fast bowler.
Yeah.
But he's a professional, I think. Because the amateur behind it gets away with it.
The captain is an amateur still.
Yeah, and so he gets it's fine, but because he's a professional, it all gets put on him as a dirty upstart, basically.
Yeah. And Larwood's exiled, right? And he exiles himself to Australia. And he lived the rest of his life.
That's where you go.
That's where you go.
Just like us. Yeah,
Australia's sort of the original Brexit, I guess. But yeah, it's funny that he got more flack than anyone who went on the rebel apartheid tours.
Yeah.
No, that is funny. So the Bodyline series is Hitler's Ashes. Go on, Charlie.
Read that quote.
You know where I got Bradman? There would be a well-rehearsed pause before he'd lean forward and deliver his punchline. On the arse. So Larwood's sending rockets up Bradman's arse. And Bradman goes, no, that's Catholic stuff.
Catholic. That's Catholic.
That's the Catholic hole. Don't get away with that. That's Catholic child protection. Get away from me. So after the Bodyline series, we move into the post-war series, which I guess, is this when Australia start to dominate properly? It feels like, as an English fan, basically from the 50s onwards, it's
because the actual scores on the doors are relatively equal.
Yeah,
but it's just because we just
but that's another thing we're not really taught.
Padded.
Yeah.
Crazy early doors before anyone else knew the rules fully.
Yeah.
When we were saying, no, we're not writing the rules. The rules means we get more runs for this.
Yeah.
We're at that stage still. And it was only now that you guys properly started.
In the Australian psyche, we win all the time, even though the statistics don't really bear that out.
Right.
So we just don't pay attention when we lose.
But you are kind of right, though. Yeah. That isn't just all the important ones you are winning.
But even you saying that, I didn't really know that Australia won a lot from the 50s onwards. I just presume from day dot.
Oh,
it was just
right.
Australia all the time. So
government propaganda.
Yeah, pretty
sort of
much.
like a North Korean state.
Yeah.
Rewriting history.
Well, it's like when North Korea lost to Portugal in the World Cup, and then they got told that they won 5-0.
And Kim Jong-un scored a hat-trick.
Yeah, incredible. So the 70s is when the first one-day international is played, which is obviously the death of the game.
Yeah.
Making cricket more accessible for women and families is not what the game's about.
It's not cricket.
Sport is for all. This one's not.
Yes.
That's why I like it. And then this is where you have the Charlie, what have you got up here?
Is water birth cricket, would you say?
A water
No,
birth?
that's not cricket.
That's not cricket.
Not cricket.
No.
Right.
Sorry, we're playing a long-running feature where we it's called That's Not Cricket, and we're just
trying to work out if something is cricket.
why that was up there.
We're just trying to work out what's cricket and what's not.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's
Bit by
water
bit.
birth's not cricket. Yeah.
no, that's a form of delivering a baby.
yeah.
That's
Not
not cricket.
delivering a fastball, delivering a baby.
Is there anything? I mean, could you train for cricket in a pool?
I don't think you could.
No, you
It's
probably
not
couldn't.
like you could. It's not like a geriatric sport.
Shadow batting underwater would probably help. That. No,
Yes.
same the way that you do like a marathon in mud, and then you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, in Australia, if some people have backyard pools, you do classic catches diving into the pool.
Right.
Yes,
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that is a bit of practice.
That's
Yeah.
cricket.
That is
That's
That's
That's a
cricket.
form of cricket,
That's
yeah.
cricket. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cricket.
Well, I guess if you're an incredibly low attention span husband while your wife's giving a water birth, you're like, well, this is a great excuse. We've got the water. You're trying to get catches.
You know,
Yeah.
if the woman is diving in as the baby comes out,
Yeah.
and then the husband catches it, that's cricket.
That is cricket.
Yeah. That's
Is pegging is cricket?
pegging
or-
is not cricket.
Definitely not cricket.
Pegging's not cricket.
That's Catholic.
No, that was what happened in the Bodyline series.
Yeah.
Pegging's Catholic, absolutely.
That's how Larwood got Bradman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Up the
Up the arse. So, blah, 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 70s, Dennis Lilly, whatever. The main, this is where we start to get to the real red meat.
Yeah.
This is what puts hairs on my chest.
Go on.
Yes.
81, this is Ian Botham. The biggest hog ever to play for England.
Yeah.
Is he absolutely hung like a horse?
Have you not seen the photo?
No, can I just get the photo?
You lads have seen the photo. You've not seen Botham's hog?
Yeah.
No.
Charlie,
Charlie, Botham's hog up.
get Botham's hog up.
It's a piece.
Is it?
It's one of the all-time thick hogs.
Really?
Is he erect or is it?
Yeah.
All right, good.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah, terrifying if he's not.
It was so funny after we went to the cricket, we went for a curry, and
We were
Horatio
pretty
was
fucking
pretty
slammed.
hammered, and he went on a half-hour tirade about how he didn't have the smallest cock at the table.
No.
which is the most small cock thing you could do.
No, Finn, that's complete revisionism
Go on.
nonsense. That's not what I said. I said I don't have that big a knob. It's not a small knob.
Yeah,
For my height, it's like
He's
it'd be
doing it again.
disappointing.
He's doing it again.
No,
Yeah,
but I'm
so
saying
when you get
I
into the
was-
third or fourth subheading, it
No, because
sounds
I was pointing
very
at someone
small.
saying, you're smaller than me. Do you have a big knob? He's like, fine. Mine's probably bigger than yours. It's just not that big. It's not. I don't have a tiny. It's not like a. It wouldn't be like that's such a small knob. It's just like if you saw it, it's like
Yeah.
it's nothing to write home about.
Yeah.
It's not like a it's just for someone my height, you'd be like, oh, it could be bigger.
Yeah.
But it's not. No,
Stop talking.
but it's not.
No,
I don't
you
have
say.
a tiny knob. It's like.
It's small, but with caveats. Yeah.
Well, I'm tall, so I think it's above national average. But for my height, it's small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a 6'2" guy, I've got a small knob.
Yeah.
But for any normal guy, it's like fine.
It's all scale. I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we were comparing because we got that talk. We were with the Upshot boys, which you've just been on their podcast. Shout out the Upshot, and we had all our teams there. We had Charlie. We had the whole teams there, and then we decided who has the biggest hogs.
Oh yeah.
Charlie's quite. Oh my god.
That's Botham's hog. So that's just.
A thick old boy.
I don't know if that's fully a rep. Who did he send that to? Did he send that into TMS?
He wrote into TMS.
He sent that to
And he's
Agnes.
also.
And he's also keeping
how's
a massive log of how big everyone's dick is.
You can tell by the look of him that he's got a massive knob, though.
Yeah.
He walks like a guy with
Yeah.
a big knob.
He's
But
got
so
a
do
big
you,
knob.
Charlie. You've got the swagger.
Yeah,
No, Charlie, you said it wasn't like we were overblowing how big your hog was.
No, I'm
but
just
it's the
not-
biggest on the team.
I'm just not insecure about it whatsoever. I got
Yeah.
massive balls. I can.
I'm not insecure
Oh, yeah.
about it.
Yeah, you're one of those guys.
No, but
Yeah.
you've got like low IQ, big dick. That's
Yeah.
the
Which
the
I'll
graph.
take.
Neanderthal.
Yeah, Neanderthals
Yeah.
have got the biggest dicks.
Brutish cock.
Yeah, you wouldn't know what to do with it.
No, I don't know what to
And
do.
we're having this conversation. Then there's this guy at the end of the table, 6'5", completely silent the whole time, and we were just shuddering, thinking about how big his knob was. Like, he had that sort of silence of a man who's just hung like a horse. Like if you're truly hung like a horse, and it's a big knob conversation, you stay deathly quiet.
Yeah, that's right. It's like if you're a professional athlete and you hear other people talking about the sport that you're a professional athlete in, you just don't say anything.
You're above it.
You're above it.
You know, we're all squabbling in the small dick Olympics.
What? The Paralympics.
The Paralympics.
The Paralympics should be. This is 100 meters for the guys for the smallest, the micro penis 100 meters.
But you're not hung like a horse either. You never said
Hey?
you were. You're not hung like a horse either.
No, but I don't need to go on about
Yeah.
it. I don't do a fucking monologue for 5 minutes about how I don't have the smallest cock that's ever been.
Yeah. It's not big, but it's not.
I haven't seen Hugo's cock, but at work he has a very thick stream of urine that you can hear.
Like a horse.
You know what I mean? Like when the urine splashes in, it fucking reverberates
But
deeply.
Have you got
Does that mean he's got a big cock, or he could just have
Well, I
a
don't know.
lot
I've
of
never
like a
seen
little
it,
fucking
but I'd imagine
desert
if
eagle?
if the like the stream is thick, it's coming out of something.
There's a lot of
big in it.
mechanics.
It's like a hose.
He's got a big cock hole.
Maybe.
He's got a stretchy cock hole.
Yes. Well,
What's worse is that we don't have a toilet at the
yeah,
office.
that's right.
It's a metal wall.
Yeah.
Go on, Charlie.
That's just
I
Australia.
think Johnny Burstow has a tiny knob.
Do you think?
No.
I think it's like painfully.
That's not cricket.
Pain-
You said that's
small.
your feeling, or that's what you know.
It's my feeling.
Oh yeah.
But I feel it deep. I feel it from
think
deep within.
I think you have a big cock.
I think he's got an absolute cable down there.
You're not batting six with a tiny dick. You're not batting six.
I'm not that.
You're
Yeah,
Jack Leach.
but I'm not batting 10th. I'm batting, 8.
Right. You're an all-rounder.
Yeah.
With a tiny cock.
Yeah, no, not tiny. It's just not particularly big.
Yeah.
But your balls are quite big, aren't they?
They are big. I've got
Yeah.
big balls.
Can you envelop your
But that makes my cock look smaller as well.
right?
Right.
It's very important to get nude in cricket, like in cricket culture.
Yeah.
Bradman got
And I wouldn't be
nude all
ashamed
the
to get
time.
nude either.
Yeah.
Just so you.
But this is a bit. It's
I'm not
more.
trying to
This
hide
feels
it.
like more of an Australian ritual than an English one to get.
Well, Australia's number 6 at the moment. It's literally called slug.
Right.
After
And he's got an
his
absolute-
piece. That's after his piece.
Right.
Like he came into the team last year, Bo Webster, and everyone's like, he's from a place in Tasmania called Snug, so they all call him Slug from Snug.
Yeah.
That's why they think his nickname is Slug, but it's just because he has an enormous cock.
But a slug's not even that big.
Yes, I mean Slug's a weird nickname for a big dick because slugs are small.
Maybe
aren't they?
When you
Slog.
see it,
A
I know
slog
what you're
slug.
saying, yeah,
I
that's
now
very-
think he's got a very wet cock.
and it leaves a trail.
Yeah. And he goes slowly up walls.
Yeah.
Oh, is that Slug? Is it? Oh, right. Slug's
Let's
been
call
there.
him Slug.
They call me Mosquito.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is Charlie's got Ian Botham's dick up.
Well, I hasn't taken it down for the last 5 minutes.
This dick's in the House of Lords.
It's in the long room.
So he's lying back, and it's actually is that up to his belly button?
I think it's
he's
beyond.
shooting up. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's almost
To be honest, that's great. That's estate agent camera work.
it is. Yeah, it is.
Wide lens.
Fisheye lens.
True.
Yeah.
I just don't know if you can play for Australia without a decent cock. No, I'm serious. I just don't think
Yeah. I don't think they'll let you.
Yeah.
because or like a.
So
good-
you're not allowed in the the Lords.
The long room, unless you've got a tiny.
Yeah,
cock.
you're the.
I just don't know how you make
It's
it
like
through.
you can't have
through
too
grades.
big.
The pavilion is the smallest cocks in the land.
Yeah, you
That's
can't.
right.
Yeah.
You have to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jason Frazier for Australia, he was a cock-based selection about 15 years ago. When they started playing T20 cricket, his nickname on his shirt was Subway.
What does that mean?
Foot long.
Right.
Yeah. I love Australia.
Jared from Subway.
Australian nicknames are incredible because they're always like three things removed.
It's like Cockney rhyming slang.
It's great. It's Australian rhyming slang's mad. Like I'm a big fan of your pod, but sometimes you have to pause it and go, what's the sentence they've just said actually mean?
Especially only open one corner of our mouth while we're talking as well.
Yeah,
so as to
yeah.
not let flies in.
So Botham in 81. This is
Yeah.
Botham's Ashes. This is now I don't really I know what he does at Headingley, but are England down in the series when he does this?
I think so.
Yeah, Australia's. I think
Yeah.
Australia's on top. And is this isn't the Ashes when Australia's shit?
But I don't know.
No,
they
this-
wouldn't know
this-
about
this
the
is-
both
this
of
is
them.
one-
I know the one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But you wouldn't know that much about the both thing because that's not part of your.
Law.
Like we all.
Oh, no,
that's
we-
one of the things that we all learn is both.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is
they're
weird.
Botham's Ashes.
Yeah.
It is
It's
weird because
incredible.
there
I'm
were no
assuming
Ashes that year,
That's
which
what our
is weird.
biggest.
Yeah.
They avoided it, I think.
But this is where I think the real like myth of or the sense of England comes in. I think it ties into empire. It's the same way that Stokes did later on. It's
Go on.
like the heroic last stand, right? It's the redoubt, Rorke's Drift.
It's all these things. Agincourt,
yeah.
anything like that. All British wins. It has to be us overcoming odds, even if they're not really there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Because I think we
exactly.
can't deal with the fact that we're like, if we've ever been on top, oppressing people with far worse situations. It has to be we've overcome extraordinary difficulties in everything.
Yeah.
That's why all the victories we choose to focus on is us overcoming huge odds.
Yeah, there were thousands of Zulus in a viciously unarmed, unprovoked attack on a sovereign
It was a
British
defensive
territory.
war. We've said this
Defensive
many
war
times.
in Natal Colony, South Africa.
And it was hot.
It was so hot, and we were wearing three-piece suits.
It was roasting.
It was fucking roasting. These guys,
They're in their underpants.
with their pants.
They didn't even dress up.
That's not cricket.
That's not
The
cricket.
Zulu
So,
War's
so
not
that
cricket.
series, the 81,
Yeah.
they're called Botham's Ashes. I mean,
Well, you said overcoming the odds. So they really did because 2 days into that game when Australia was ahead by a lot, I think the team manager comes into the Australian rooms and says, England are what? Like
paying 500 to 1.
They're 500.
No, 50 to 1.
50 to 1.
50 to 1.
To win the game. And Dennis Lilly and Rod Marsh go, well, let's put $100 on that.
Yeah. They put 100
£100 on it.
Oh,
and
that's good.
Yeah.
hey, interestingly, yeah.
All of a sudden, Botham does his
and no one
thing.
ever really talks about it. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, so they bet against their own team, and
Yeah.
next minute, Botham 149 red, Bob Willis 8 for 43, and England win,
Yeah.
and Lilly and Marsh are rich.
Sort of
so-
come from nowhere,
Yeah.
yeah. And then Lily's been asked about it a few times post-career, and he's quoted as saying, "I've never thought about it once."
So, for those who don't like cricket, this is one of the seminal innings where England have collapsed and they need something stupid in the fourth innings to win, and then maybe even tie the series, keep the series alive. And one man with a huge cock just pumps it
Red-blooded Botham.
around the ground, scores 149, not out. and England win from a seemingly impossible position and then go on to win the series.
But Botham seems to hit the ball, and it's a bit more an 80s thing, like he's got a fag in his mouth. That sort of, you know, not like the modern cricketer. Where there's like it does real feel like he's fuck off.
Yeah.
This was like Stokes did an amazing thing in 2019, right? Where he came from nowhere this was like the original.
I've already got goosebumps.
One.
Oh my God.
Stokes probably isn't going to talk to some Scottish kids for the BBC.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that?
I think my favourite episode of your podcast I've listened to is when Stokes nearly did it again in 23.
Oh yeah.
And even though we lost that test, you were both so traumatized about the idea of it happening again. That you realised the huge dent on the Australian psyche that day had.
Yeah.
That Stokes
It's genuinely traumatised a generation of Australian men who are not equipped to deal with psychological trauma.
Yes.
It's
We're
like
built for it.
Yeah.
It's
probably the greatest thing that an Englishman's ever done.
Yeah. It's absolutely extraordinary.
But because, I mean, we'll get to it, but basically Botham's sort of heroics in the 80s are kind of the last time for a long time where England are any good. And this is the sort of era that I'm born into as a cricket fan. 89 to 2005, this is just all Aussie. This is a real slurry for the...
Yeah, because we have these choice moments. We have Flintoff, we have Botham, we have Stokes that we pick apart and we focus on. But because you're always winning, what are the big moments in the Ashes for you? Or is it just a consistent thing?
Is it as enjoyable for an Australian when the kind of the par is steamrolling? When the par is 5-0 at home?
Yeah, but it gets odd. Like the great entitlement you get as an Australian is when you get like upset if they haven't won, like by enough. So like when there aren't really moments during this period. It's like it's all just one picture of Steve Waugh with like squinty eyes. And he's like, and just talking out the side of his mouth with his arms folded. And like in Australia at the time, like John Howard was Prime Minister. There was a lot of mining money coming through. There was strange patriotism and nationalism, and like Steve Waugh was like deifying the baggy green, and the Aussies are wearing a fucking baggy green at Wimbledon when Pat Rafter's playing. So it's all those
was
images
doing
in
photo
your head.
shoots with Jordan because they had the Nike type, so we were real proud. Like. Because I mean, we grew up watching the same era, so like our introduction to the Ashes was just we were fucking amazing. Because England weren't just bad in the Ashes; they were. This
was the worst England's team.
They weren't
comical.
For 15 years.
Yeah.
And what ended this was Flintoff, right? The Flintoff.
Well, the 2005 Ashes. Go on, Charlie.
As an Australian cricketer, if you're going about your life having retired, is there like a rock star element to it at all?
I don't think we have that culture in Australia.
Australia's
really.
not. You don't.
It's very tall.
Well, you don't have culture in Australia.
We don't have any culture.
What's culture?
Yeah.
I mean, because we had a.
What should we do the weekend? Let's drink a pint and have a show. It's not. It's not exactly.
When he said it.
It's not the opera, is it?
That was the Prime Minister there.
The nation has spoken. Yeah.
I think it was the great innovation of
Matthew
British
Hayden
people.
likes curries, chat masala, and pickles.
Okay, yeah, good. We got that down.
So that's the opening. If we could just get up what every Australian opening pair like to eat.
Because I think what was interesting, listen to like podcasts about cricket. There's a lot of racism. There's a lot of real like conservative racist stuff. But what is the kind of innovation of the British stuff is that we're kind of racist within white people. It's quite amazing that we've taken racism and we even filtered it within,
refined it,
purified
perfected
it.
Yeah, even we've sent British.
You didn't go to a good private school.
We've sent British people over to another country and in order to be racist about British people. It's pretty amazing.
When we think about like the best team in our lifetimes, it was about the sort of late 90s, 2000s. Steve Waugh was.
Sorry to interrupt. We've got breaking news.
Ricky Ponting has been quoted. He's on record as saying his favourite food is roast pork and gravy. Should go with one of his lovely wines.
Sorry, you were saying.
No, not at all.
We had to break that up.
So like that era, there was like
keep going through that team, John.
Like Stuart McGill. Sort of leg spinner underneath Shane Warne was just done for an enormous drug deal. Shane Warne had his own thing going on. Michael Slater's had some troubles in his life. It's like that. Like Stephen Waugh and Mark Waugh, they don't talk to each other, but they slept in a bed until they were like 25 together.
Right.
So they were really strange characters of a certain time, but they were fucking good at cricket.
Damien Martin has burner accounts on Twitter as well and goes after people, which is awesome.
At one time, so Damien.
And is that your best team?
Yeah,
I reckon so.
Yeah.
At one time, Trump followed like 45 people on Twitter, and Damien Martin was one of them.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
McGrath shoots animals.
So McGrath enjoys
Trophy
eating
hunter.
dairy milk, frozen and rock hard. That's absolutely insane. That's absolutely insane.
He likes chicken tikka masala as well.
I mean, chocolate out of the fridge, I think, is too much. Frozen chocolate.
Do you not like chocolate out of the fridge? Dairy milk?
No.
I don't, because it melts and it gets in.
We've had this conversation before.
Yeah.
It's wrong.
We'll have it again.
And how big is your cock, by the way?
Well, it's not big.
What about if it's been in the fridge?
It doesn't get bigger. It gets much smaller actually in the fridge.
It's an innie in the fridge, isn't it?
But you got a tiny flaccid cock. You were saying that
I'm a big grower.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Yeah. So it's really small when it's not.
How's yours, flaccid?
It's still fine. I don't think it's
not a grower, not a shower.
Yeah.
That's the right.
It's not like
for your height,
not,
it's small, but
It's definitely not like a trouser snake, but it's not.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be like
trouser sluck.
You wouldn't take a picture of it because it's so small to show other people. Can you believe how small it is?
Right.
It's just
but
very
compared to
it's
everyone
quite boring. It's like a boring size.
Boring. Yeah.
It's below average. Just
no one's writing songs about it.
just.
Yeah, but it's still doing a job.
It's doing the job. Does it work?
It works. No, it works.
Does his penis work?
Yeah, that's
it
good.
works.
So Australia is dominant, and then 2005. This is like this really hits me in the spine.
Yeah.
This is the greatest series ever. That's how we spin it. Is that the same thing in Australia? I mean, it's certainly.
Yeah.
I think it was so good that even though Australia lost, that it is considered that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's also because it was the end of this era as well. That's what it came off the back of being fucked for so many years.
It's the cuck's revenge. There's nothing like having someone watching someone else fuck your wife for 20 years, and then you go, do you know what?
You know what? He's done it.
It's my go. Oh God, yeah. I've forgotten what this is like. England
fucks their own wife for
once in 20 years.
And then everyone gets OBEs.
Yeah.
They all get to meet the Prime Minister.
I fucked my wife. I'm at number 10 now.
Downing Street.
The next day their eyes are fucked. Like, oh man, I'm not doing that again. Fucking hell. And then we know you guys have to go to the actual cricket, so we just need to. I think the footnote to this story is we talked about Stokes at Headingley. We could do a 10-part series on that
Easily,
but we need to get to. I think the thing that reignited the Ashes, because as cricket became more commercialised, more
Catholic,
as all these players start playing for the same teams in India in the short form of the game, the sort of seems to lose a bit of bite. And then what year is it? 2023, the Bairstow thing.
Yes.
Yeah, 2023. Get the still image of Bairstow. All the memes. I absolutely love this. This is in the Lord's Test. I think England are 1 down at this point, maybe? Are they 1 down?
Yeah.
1 down.
And Johnny Bairstow, who I think has got a huge cock, probably.
I think so.
He finishes an over. The over ends, and he starts walking to the other end to chat to his mate. And what happens next? The only way to describe it is it's a war crime.
Yeah.
It's the only way.
It's the only way.
It should be tried at The Hague. This is
Alex Carey should be tried at The Hague.
Yeah.
Alex Carey throws the balls at the stumps. Bairstow thinks the game is dead.
Right.
Carey thinks it's live, and the Australians pressure the umpire, who gives in and signals Bairstow out. Bairstow is very confused, walks back to the. God. I mean, it is fucking hilarious, actually, to be fair, seeing it again.
It's so quick as well.
It's so quick. Bairstow then walks back, and the whole of Lords doesn't really get angry. Lords is, it's full of cucks, right?
Yeah.
But this is when they're like, now that, hang on, don't spit in her mouth. There's a sort of...
That's still my wife.
That's still my wife. That's the mother of my child. And this is, were you guys at this game?
We were, yeah.
So talk to us about the atmosphere of what happens next.
Well, it was already a little bit charged for whatever reason.
It was a bit feral
before this happened. But because you're right. Like Lords typically is, it's a very different atmosphere to even the Oval. Like Edgbaston's like the party ground. Yeah. Leeds is fantastic. Old Trafford as well. But Lords is it's the most civil place basically. Like when the first ball of each day, it's dead silent basically as a bowler runs in. So what happened next is so unlike Lords. It was so electric. It was so charged. There was this anti-Australian sentiment definitely in the air already. It was a hot series because England haven't held the Ashes, I guess, for 12 years by this point, so it was a chance for England to get them back.
And Bazball had started.
There was a bit of a cultish element to it anyway.
Yeah.
And so this was a big moment in the game. This is the fourth innings of the game. And so when this, apparent injustice happens, it sort of sets a...
Sorry, Gilchrist. Adam
really
Gilchrist's favourite lunch is a butter chicken.
Oh,
Notice how they're all Indian.
Yeah,
all,
I guess you're on
all
tour
Indian
down
foods.
there
You're on tour a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a baby, by the way.
There's a baby screaming
should
because they've
acknowledge
just
the
been
baby.
played footage of the Bairstow divorce. And even a baby can recognise injustice when it sees it.
I thought that was Besto for a second.
But
it was Piers
from
Morgan.
2005 to now, is this kind of the golden age of the Ashes as a spectator? It's getting better and better.
I think since 2019 it's really
when they're in England, it's like the handicap of Australia playing England makes it a fair.
Makes it fair, yeah.
It's quite rubbish when we go down under.
Well, it's
not
just
fair.
you get steamrolled. Yeah,
it's
just not
cheating.
fair. Whatever you're doing with the temperatures out there, it's just not fair.
Seriously, cricket is better here.
Yeah.
There's much more even between bat and ball. In
Yeah.
Australia, it's less like that. So
What?
cricket is
Because the wetter wickets is more.
Slug dicks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Wet
probably
disc.
just like the humidity seems to affect the ball. We use a different ball in Australia than to here, so it's just...
Because sometimes you watch like Indian tests and it's just like the pitch is cracked and kind of unplayable and stuff.
Yeah. Well, we get upset at Indian pitches where there's like 14 wickets lost in a day.
Yeah.
But that happens here as well. But because it's fast bowling, it's actually not unfair. So,
Right. Yeah.
We'll adjudge what's.
I think this moment is the most like brutish, thuggish, Australians from the colonies that you guys had sent us down there, just acting up again.
It's Australian criminality.
Yeah,
But
criminality.
this is it.
It's sharp practice.
This is what I mean. I mean, to bring this back to the history of it, is that whenever something like this happens, it's like it cleaves open the wound that still exists that we think was sort of all fine between Australia and England, everything pours out. It's like the reason I like the Ashes is that it is a cipher for all of history of the two countries. It's like the umbilical cord that still attaches Australia to England.
Yeah.
When anything like this happens, it's like the Australians have
It's funny because the two countries are so close. Like I'm sure we all have friends that have either lived in Australia or us. We ourselves have lived here, and so you have this real kinship, and our cultures are so similar. Yet,
We go to the theatre of the West End. You drink lager out of a shoe.
That's right, out of a shoe.
Potato.
We eat steak, you're gay.
But then when there's these touch points, and you're like, oh, we actually fucking hate you.
And so this is just to finish up. This is the long room, which is kind of the inner crypt of cricket.
Yeah, this is
it's
Cuck
like the
Central.
altar
This
of
is
cricket.
the bunker, the Cuck bunker.
This is Hitler's
The amount
bunker.
of erections here.
And
Look at that. Look at these Cucks.
these cucks are angry for the first time in their life, screaming at the man fucking their wife.
And then 2 people got banned for life.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
In Australia, it was like you guys invented the laws, and then we just played to the laws. And now you're telling us that the laws are that we were wrong to do that.
Well, you have a complicated relationship with laws, famously.
Leave the laws
you guys started talking about spirit. It's like, I know we wrote these laws, but this isn't in the spirit of those laws.
Yeah, it's
and
important.
we'll be able to what the spirit is.
It's fascism. It's English fascism.
I mean, that's
Totally.
not cricket.
That's not cricket.
I think that comes back to like the Crusades though, because didn't like the English they didn't want to use the bow and arrow because there was no skill in the kill, for instance. Like that was against morality.
Yes.
It's not in the spirit of war to use a crossbow because it was too simple to murder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You've got to have a longbow that takes fucking 10
that's
years
right.
to pull back.
It's the skill of the archer. It was taken away by the crossbow.
We need to let you guys go. You guys are on tour in England in July. When and where are your shows?
Yeah, we're in Birmingham, July 3, at Birmingham Town Hall with Sir Jimmy Anderson.
Wow,
on
amazing.
stage.
King of swing.
And then
So is he hung as well then?
Oh, he's got to be.
King of the Swinging Dead.
He'd have to.
He'd have
Yeah.
a massive
He'd have
cock.
to. He'd be a massive swordsman.
He'd be sorting.
Totally.
And then July 13, Hammersmith Apollo. So,
Amazing.
With Stuart Broad.
With Stuart Broad.
Yeah.
Fucking
No,
Broady.
I'm going to come to that. I'll be at that one.
Yeah.
Oh, nice
Absolutely.
one.
Absolutely.
You can get tickets at greycricketer.com if you want to come.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to come, then don't.
Honestly, these guys. If you like cricket, you're not into these guys' podcasts. I love it so much. Such
If
a
you don't
pleasure.
like cricket, maybe give it a miss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty cricket heavy.
But if something big,
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
If something big happens in the cricket, then just come here. But otherwise, don't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't worry.
And don't
bother.
tell other people you're coming to the show as well. Say you're going to like LCD sound system or something people come in. Like the lights are off, like so people can't see that you're there as well at the show. So you're safe.
It's safe. Guys, thanks so much for coming in.
Absolute pleasure.
Now we're going to do a Patreon this week on the Rebel Cricket Tours to South Africa, which is cricket and it's not cricket.
Yep. Okay.
Apartheid's not cricket.
Yeah.
But cricket.
It's non-binary cricket.
It's non-binary cricket. Yeah.
Is cricket fluid?
Ironically, it's a grey area, even though it's an incredibly black and white issue. Thanks so much for watching, listening, and we will see you next week for a new topic. Bye.